sure to, make sure that we're available to you for questions after. If you're like, we didn't spend enough on that, I have some questions. This way we can make sure that you get everything you need today. All right, so this is Margaret Heffernan, a former CEO of an Irish businesswoman, CEO. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to play the TED Talk. Let me know if for any reason you weren't able to hear. I've done this before and it worked fine, but I'm always leery that I'm going to do it again and then I won't have my settings correct or something. So hopefully it'll work. You can hear it and see it. But let me know if that's not true. And let me know if I need to mute my mic. All right, thank you.
In Oxford in the 1950s, there was a fantastic doctor who was very unusual, named Alice Stewart. And Alice was unusual partly because, of course, she was a woman, which was pretty rare in the 1950s, and she was brilliant. She was from the College of Physicians. She was unusual, too, because she continued to work after she got married, after she had kids, and even after she got divorced and she was unusual because she was really interested in new science, of epidemiology, the study of patterns of disease. But like every scientist, she appreciated that to make her mark, what she needed to do was find a hard problem and solve it. The hard problem that Alice chose was the rising incidence of childhood cancers. Most diseases correlated with poverty, but in the case of childhood cancers, the children who were dying seemed mostly to come from affluent families. So what she wanted to know could explain this anomaly. Now, Alice had trouble getting funding for her research. In the end, she got just £1,000 from the Lady Tata Memorial Prize. And that meant, now she had no idea what to look for. This really was a needle in a haystack sort of search. So she asked everything she could think of. Had the children eat to eat fish and chips? Did they have indoor or outdoor plumbing? What time of life had they started school? And when her carbon copy questionnaire started to come back, one thing and one thing only jumped out with a statistical clarity of a kind that most scientists know. The children who had died had had mothers who had been x-rayed when pregnant. Now that finding flew in the face of conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom held that everything was safe up to a point, a threshold, age, which was the x-ray machine. And it flew in the face of doctors' idea of themselves, which was as people who helped patients, they didn't help them. Nevertheless, Alice Stewart rushed to publish her preliminary findings in the Lancet in 1956. People got very excited. There was talk of the Nobel Prize. And Alice really was in a big hurry to try to study all the cases of childhood cancer she could find before they disappeared. In fact, she need not have hurried. It was fully 25 years before the British and American medical establishments abandoned the practice of x-raying pregnant women. The data was out there, it was open, it was freely available, but nobody wanted to know. A child a week was dying, but nothing changed. Openness alone can't drive change. So for 25 years, Alice Stewart had a very big fight on her hands. So how did she know that she was right? Well, she had a fantastic model for thinking. She worked with a statistician named George Neal, and George was pretty much everything that Alice wasn't. So Alice was very outgoing and sociable, and George wasn't recluse. Alice was very warm, very empathetic with her patients. George, frankly, preferred numbers to people. But he set this fantastic